They will tell you to lead with kindness, to win hearts before minds, to be loved rather than feared. But they speak as if the world is gentle, as if power listens to the soft voice of virtue. It does not. Power respects force, not sentiment. In the silence behind ceremony, it is fear that keeps the order. Respect is a luxury. Fear is a foundation. Be feared first, then, if you must, be respected. Respect is the echo of power, not its origin. It is the nod people offer after they've been made to kneel. Do not seek it as your compass. It comes too late to save the weak, and too easily to adorn the strong. Men respect what they cannot control. What they suspect might destroy them. They wrap their admiration in civility, but it is terror that anchors their loyalty. Fear is not cruelty, it is clarity. It strips away illusion, reveals the boundaries of obedience. A ruler who is feared commands without needing to beg, persuades without needing to explain. Fear carries the weight that love cannot bear alone. It creates distance, and in that distance, authority. The sentimental ruler is like a shepherd among wolves cloaked in principle, devoured by necessity. He believes that goodwill builds allegiance. But goodwill is currency in times of abundance, and abundance is never permanent. When the grain runs dry, when war knocks at the gates, when ambition sharpens in others' eyes, then love dissolves, and only fear remains. You cannot buy loyalty with mercy alone. Mercy is interpreted as weakness if not paired with strength. When men see hesitation, they test it. When they find compassion without consequence, they exploit it. Power does not live in forgiveness, it lives in consequence. Be merciful rarely, make each act of leniency costlier than punishment. A ruler must understand the anatomy of betrayal. It is not a personal defect in others, it is a structural certainty in any hierarchy. Those below you want your place, those beside you want your power. Those above you resent your ascent. Betrayal is the tax you pay for being needed. Anticipate it, weaponize it. Let betrayal serve as an instrument, not an insult. Control is not built by force. Alone it is maintained through perception. Appear calm, appear just, appear generous. But in the machinery of the state, appearances are tactics, not truths. The moment your enemies believe you are incapable of violence, they will provoke you. The moment your allies sense indecision, they will abandon you. You must be a Stygia performance of benevolence wrapped around a skeleton of ruthlessness. Do not be ashamed of manipulation. It is not deceit. It is survival in an arena built on lies. Every state, every throne, every alliance is a theater. Learn the script. Control the lighting. Rewrite the roles when necessary. Most men do not want the truth. They want to believe in what flatters them. Feed them illusions while you rearrange the levers of command. You will be told that ambition corrupts, but it is not ambition that corrupts, it is the denial of ambition that blinds a man to the cost of hesitation. If you desire power, take it. Do not announce it. Do not moralize it. Power taken swiftly is forgiven. Power taken slowly is feared, and it is better to be feared. Know that you will be hated, accept it as a fact, not a failing. Greatness breeds resentment long before it breeds reverence. Weak men will dress their envy as ethics. They will call your victories immoral, your pragmatism cruel. Let them speak, but never let them touch the wheel. The state is not moved by voices, it is moved by hands. Leadership is a cold, exacting art. It demands detachment from the comfort of consensus. You must walk alone, even when surrounded, especially when surrounded. Trust is not a virtue in politics, it is a miscalculation. Use it sparingly. Test loyalty often. Rotate confidants. Keep your council divided, so no one alliance becomes your master. Stability is not peace, it is control, and control is not given, it is imposed. If you do not set the terms of power, someone else will. The state is a battlefield disguised as an institution. The laws are banners, the bureaucracy, armor. Every official, every minister, every policy is a tactic. Do not forget the war simply because it now wears suits and speaks of process. Reputation is your armor and your sword. Protect it with silence, wield it with precision. Let rumors serve you, let mystery protect you. When your enemies cannot read your intent, they overreach. When your allies cannot predict your anger, they behave. Be legible only to yourself. Be feared in the imagination of those who wish to test you. Human nature is not noble, it is strategic. Men pretend to be good until it no longer serves them. Give them opportunity, and they will reveal themselves. Give them pressure, and they will betray their masks. The wise ruler watches not what men say, but how they shift when power changes direction. Do not chase fairness, chase outcome. Fairness is the language of those without leverage. When you hold the power, they will call your decisions unjust. When you lose it, they will call your weakness a tragedy. Lead with the knowledge that judgment always arrives late, and always from those who paid no cost. Peace is a lull, not a state. It is the interval between conflicts, the pause between ambitions. Do not relax in peace. Prepare in peace. Consolidate, fortify, eliminate uncertainty. Train your successors not to be kind, but to be exacting. Peace is when the next ruler is shaped, or the next rival is born. Fear and respect are not opposites, they are siblings. But one must come first. Fear creates the space for respect to grow. Without fear, respect is optional. With fear, respect becomes instinct. A ruler who is respected but not feared is overthrown. A ruler who is feared, even without love, remains. So build your citadel with stone, but your power with myth. Speak rarely, punish publicly, reward carefully. Let men fear disappointing you more than they crave pleasing others. Let your silence say what threats never could. Lead not with virtue, but with command. Judge not by intent, but by result. Govern not by pleasing, but by enduring. Because in the end, the state does not remember how you felt. It remembers only how you ruled. And if you would rule, be feared first, then respected. Do not mistake the stillness of loyalty for permanence. Allegiance is a calculation, not a bond. Men remain loyal so long as it benefits them to do so, so long as your strength outmatches their ambition. The moment that balance shifts, their smiles will rot into treason. A ruler must anticipate betrayal, not as an exception, but as a pattern. To endure, you must make the cost of betrayal outweigh its reward. Plant fear beneath every act of defiance, and remind your court that loyalty is not, love it is insurance against ruin. To lead is not to inspire it, is to impose structure upon chaos. The people cry for vision, but they mean order. They beg for freedom, but they crave command. They do not want to decide it. They want to obey something worthy. Your duty is not to reflect their virtues, but to manage their instincts. You are not their mirror, you are their lever. Speak of hope if you must, but govern with precision. Let your policies be cruel if they must, but never random. Discipline earns submission. Predictable strength breeds compliance. Kindness, when unguarded, becomes an invitation to contempt. Let your charity be strategic, not compulsive. A gift must never appear as weakness, nor forgiveness as forgetfulness. Men forgive themselves faster than they forgive their rulers. If you show mercy, ensure it is witnessed as dominance, not indulgence. The people do not remember the just, they remember the victorious. Let justice serve your permanence. Let every act of clemency remind them who holds the blade. True moral leadership is an illusion, but its appearance is indispensable. The prince need not possess virtue, but must seem virtuous so that the people admire him while fearing his hand. A ruler who binds himself to moral consistency will be outmaneuvered by those who understand that morality is a language, not a law. Virtue is a costume worn at the coronation and discarded before the first battle. Morality may guide the private man, But the state has no soul to save, only borders to defend and ambitions to restrain. Lead with principles if they serve you, abandon them when they do not. The state will not mourn your contradictions, it will mourn your weakness. The modern world hides its weapons in procedure. Where once steel and fire decided succession, now optics, law, and narrative do the same. But do not be deceived, this is still war. The field has changed, not the stakes. The modern ruler must master symbols with the same rigor as swords. Control perception, and you control allegiance. Control language, and you shape belief. Appear to honor freedom and justice, even as you quietly tighten your grip. Let the people believe they hold the reins of choice, but ensure every path they take leads back to your will. Virtue is a mask. Wear it when the crowd watches and discard it in private. Power rarely declares itself. It is not found in the title, but in the veto. Not in the applause, but in the silence others offer when you speak. A ruler must know where true influence lies, not in ceremony, but in control over outcomes. If you do not command the means of enforcement, you command nothing. If you do not own the consequences, you are merely a figurehead draped in borrowed dignity. Strip away the pageantry and look to the lever behind the curtain. Seize that, and the throne follows. Weak rulers obsess over fairness. They hope to be seen as just, to be remembered as noble, but remembrance is reserved for the bold, not the fair. History does not ask whether a decision was kindred, asks whether it was decisive, whether it secured the state, expanded its reach, preserved its dynasty. To rule is not to please, it is to endure. If fairness aligns with your interest, use it. If it does not, discard it. Posterity will paint your portrait with whatever colors your survival demands. A leader must govern not the world as it should be, but as it is. Human beings are not rational. They are reactive, tribal, envious, afraid. They are driven more by the fear of loss than the hope of gain. Exploit that. A policy that threatens punishment will be obeyed faster than one that promises reward. Fear concentrates the mind. Pain clarifies allegiance. Give them something to lose, and you give them a reason to obey. Let them believe they have a stake, but remind them that the stake can burn. Do not confuse transparency with truth. In politics, truth is not spoken, it is curated. The masses crave a story more than an answer. Give them a narrative that affirms their loyalties and conceals your designs. Let them see you suffer, even when you conquer. Let them believe you are one of them, even as you shape their fate from afar. Make truth a performance, and your lies will be revered as conviction. Make them believe, and they will forgive anything, so long as the illusion remains intact. Your enemies will not always attack from the front. The most dangerous betrayals wear the mask of counsel. The friend who lingers too close. The advisor who flatters too easily. The ally who speaks of unity while counting your soldiers. Learn to read intent, not language. Pay attention not to what is said, but to what is withheld. A long silence, a delayed reply. A glance held a moment too long. These are the signals of ambition awakening. Cut it down while it sleeps, or it will rise to challenge you. Exile is the crucible of clarity. To be cast out, to be betrayed, to be denied. Your place, this is not the end of power, but its beginning. When the court discards you, you are free to see the court for what it is. A stage, a trap, a game of pretense played by actors who mistake costumes for character. Use exile, let it sharpen you. Learn the terrain of your enemies. Study their fears. Cultivate your absence until it becomes more feared than your presence ever was. Return not as a petitioner, but as a storm. Let your rule be felt more than heard. The greatest rulers speak less than their ministers, appear less than their statues, and smile less than their portraits. They are present in every decision, though rarely in the room. Be silent in defeat, but loud in consequence. Let your power haunt, not declare. Let others speak your name in whispers, not in shouts. The more they speculate, the more they submit. Mystery magnifies strength. Visibility dilutes it. All glory fades, but fear lingers. Even when your empire declines, even when your name is stripped from monuments, the fear you planted will echo through institutions, through laws, through the cautious hands of those who follow. This is the true legacy of power, not adoration, not monuments, but the invisible force that restrains even your successors. That is how a ruler becomes immortal, not by being loved, but by shaping the instincts of a nation long after his bones have turned to dust. You are not required to be moral. You are required to be effective. Do not be guided by how others should act, only by how they do. Do not be distracted by the language of progress if it offers no utility. The state does not ask whether a leader is good. It asks whether he can maintain the frame, hold the borders, command the treasury, quell the factions. Nothing else matters. Success is the only ethic. Survival, the only commandment. If you must choose between competence and popularity, choose competence. The mob will cheer the fool, then crucify him at the first sign of misfortune. But they will tolerate the competent tyrant so long as bread remains on the table and fear remains in the air. Governance is not romance, it is engineering. Build your regime like a fortress, not a festival. Protect the machinery, not the spectacle. Let the people celebrate their illusions while you maintain the system that sustains them. Never forget, every throne is a seat above a pit. What elevates you today prepares the fall for tomorrow. If you do not dig traps for your rivals, they will dig them for you. If you do not anticipate collapse, you will be buried beneath it. Lead with vigilance, not comfort. Every alliance expires. Every praise has a half-life. Every oath bends under pressure. Trust no one without leverage. Reward no one without calculation. And when the time comes to strike with finality, there is no virtue in half measures, only delay in defeat. Mercy should be administered with calculation, not as poison, but as a tool. Offer it only when it strengthens your authority or averts greater hatred. When mercy risks eroding fear or undermining control, abandon it without hesitation. A ruler cannot afford the illusion that forgiveness is free. Every pardon must serve a design, to trap, to calm, to deceive, to bait. If mercy does not strengthen your hand, it weakens it. Use it not as a sign of softness, but as a form of spectacle. Let them see the blade in your other hand as you open your palm. That is how the wise govern, with smiles that precede storms. The throne is not built on justice, it is built on order. Justice is the word used by those who have no power to impose their will. They cry out for fairness only after losing the game. The ruler cannot afford the luxury of sentiment. His duty is not to comfort the fallen, but to protect the structure itself. And sometimes, the structure demands sacrifice. Sometimes, it demands silence. You must be prepared to bury the innocent if it secures the peace. You must be willing to live with blood on your hands if it keeps the sword in your grip. Never allow yourself to be entirely understood. The moment they fully know you, they will begin to resist you. Predictability is a weakness. Let them guess your motives. Let them misunderstand your silences. Uncertainty breeds hesitation. When men hesitate, they obey. Master ambiguity. Let your words carry two meanings. Let your actions remain open to interpretation. The clearest intentions are the easiest to oppose. Be water to your enemy, shapeless, shifting, inescapable. To rule is to live in contradiction. You must be both feared and admired, loved and untouchable, brutal and fair. You must deceive without lying, destroy without remorse, command without attachment. This is the price of sovereignty. The personal self must die so the political self can reign. Do not try to reconcile the two. There is no harmony here. There is only necessity. Choose the mask that serves the moment and wear it without apology. The truth of power is not in who you are, but in what you cause. The crowd remembers spectacle, not policy. 1,000 wise decisions will be forgotten in a single moment of weakness. But one public triumphant act of raw, visible dominance will echo for years. Seize the stage. Use the theater. Humiliation is more effective than refutation. Fear is more enduring than agreement. Burn one traitor in the square, and 100 rivals will swear loyalty in their hearts. Rule through example, but let that example be terror dressed in discipline. There are no permanent friends, only temporary convergences of interest. Treat allies as tools, not family. When their purpose fades, discard them without hesitation. Do not offer explanations. Do not signal guilt. The state has no obligation to sentimentality. You are not in the business of affection, you are in the business of permanence. Sentiment invites debt. Debt invites obligation. Obligation invites downfall. Cut ties before they rot. Preserve only what serves. War is not always fought with armies. In the modern court, war is waged with images, laws, sanctions, and whispers. It is fought on screens, in headlines, in boardrooms, and inboxes. But the core remains unchanged. Destroy your enemy's capacity to resist, undermine their alliances, humiliate their figureheads, divide their support, strangle their resources. The field is cleaner now, but the blood still spills. If you forget that, you will lose to someone who remembers. You will be accused of cruelty. Expect it. Embrace it. The world is full of those who speak as if they would lead better if only they had the chance. But most cannot even rule themselves. Their criticism is not a verdict, it is a confession that they fear you, envy you, wish to replace you. Let them speak. While they gather signatures and shout slogans, you gather secrets and sharpen knives. Let them protest. Their noise is the anthem of impotence. Power does not raise its voice, it simply acts. The future belongs to those who prepare the terrain before the battle begins. Influence the judges before the trial. Poison the well before they arrive. Rig the game before they know the rules. By the time your enemy realizes what you've done, the outcome must already be sealed. Victory is not seize, it is built, piece by piece, in silence. In dark rooms, in hidden agreements, in moments no one thought mattered. By the time they look up, the crown is already on your head. Control is not maintained by force alone, it is maintained by rhythm. The people must never feel they are completely safe, nor completely in danger. Too much peace and they grow lazy and bold. Too much fear and they revolt. The skilled ruler manages tension like a conductor. A subtle crisis here, a solved disaster there. Let them thank you for extinguishing the fire you quietly set. This is the art of balanceno, to solve all problems, but to control when they emerge and how they are perceived. Be the architect of your enemy's decisions. Let them believe they act freely, even as you narrow their choices. The best manipulation is invisible. When they choose what you have prepared, when they fall into traps they thought they built, you become more than a ruler, you become fate. That is the apex of power, not to respond to events, but to design them, not to win battles, but to script them before they begin. Do not react, provoke, do not resist, redirect. To lead is to kill illusions in yourself and grow them in others. You must see the world without comfort, without delusion, without pity. But you must let others keep their illusions, for they are easier to govern when they believe. Believe in hope, in justice, in heroes, in change. These are not lies, they are instruments. Feed them carefully, dress them in noble words, and never believe them yourself. There is no final victory, no end state of peace. Power must be maintained, recalibrated, defended. Every day is another challenge, another rival, another potential fracture in the walls you have built. The wise ruler does not seek rest, he seeks vigilance. The moment you believe the fight is over is the moment you begin to lose. Power is not a peak, it is a blade's edge. Stand still, and it cuts you. Move without calculation, and you fall. Only in motion with discipline does the blade remain in your hand. Even the greatest empire will decay, but if you rule wisely, your echo will remain, not in statues, not in speeches, but in the fear you instilled, the laws you forged, the instincts you shaped. That is the legacy of command. That is the afterlife of rulers, not sainthood but imprint. You will not be remembered kindly, but you will be remembered, and that is enough. The throne does not reward the pure. It rewards the precise, precision in timing, in language, in punishment, in elevation and exile. Every move must be a message. Every silence must contain an answer. The art of command is not in the loud assertion of dominance, but in the quiet orchestration of inevitability. Let your adversaries feel they are deciding their fate, when in truth, every step they take leads to the result you designed. There is no greater form of control than to let others march freely into submission. You will learn that chaos is not the enemy, it is the raw material of rule. In chaos, the people search for order, for meaning, for someone to blame and someone to follow. Provide them with direction, and they will offer you obedience. Provide them with an enemy, and they will grant you loyalty. Provide them with fear, and they will forgive you anything. A ruler does not solve chaos, he harnesses it. He rides it like a storm, steering it toward his enemies, calming it just long enough to solidify his grip. Beware the reformer who claims to act from purity. He does not seek to improve the state, he seeks to replace you. Those who speak most loudly of justice often crave power they believe was unjustly denied them. Meet them not with rebuttal, but with exposure. Illuminate their contradictions, strip their rhetoric of its costume. Show their ambitions for what they are, and the people will turn on them faster than any sword could manage. No rebellion survives when it loses its mask. Restraint is not weakness, it is strategy, but it must be visible as restraint, not impotence. The people must see that you could strike, but choose not to, that your silence is not confusion, but mercy. This is the posture of supremacy, the wolf who does not need to growl, the lion who does not need to hunt to be feared. You must become this image-controlled, patient, deadly. A sovereign who holds fire in his chest and releases it only with purpose. Do not seek unity. Unity is an illusion. The state is a mosaic of factions, interests, rivalries, and fears. You do not eliminate them. You manage them. Divide when necessary. Reconcile when profitable. Play enemies against each other so none become too strong. Stability does not mean agreement. It means equilibrium. It means all forces pull against each other with just enough force that none can tip the balance. That balance must be calculated daily. Governance is not philosophy, it is gravity. You will be tempted to speak plainly. Resist that temptation. The truth, in its raw form, is a weapon best kept in your private arsenal. Let your public words shimmer with layers. Speak to multiple audiences at once. Say what is necessary, not what is real. Simplicity is dangerous because it gives clarity to your enemies. Ambiguity, when mastered, is armor. The skilled ruler says one thing, means another, and achieves a third. And in the confusion he advances without resistance. Tradition is your most powerful disguise. When you must change the state, wrap your reforms in the language of the past. Invoke the old while constructing the new. Call it a return, even when it is a departure. The people are less afraid of what they recognize. Frame your revolution as restoration. Call your ambition duty. Mask your expansion as necessity. The masses do not care for truth, they crave continuity. Feed them symbols while you redraw the lines beneath their feet. Institutions are not eternal, they are instruments. If they serve your rule, strengthen them. If they hinder you, bypass or hollow them. The law is only sacred if it cannot be changed. But all laws are written by victors. Rewrite them if you must, but never all at once. Change slowly, incrementally, like a tide that no one notices until the shoreline is different. Radical change inspires resistance. Subtle change becomes fact. Let tomorrow's tyranny wear yesterday's legal uniform. Be patient with power. The impetuous ruler is the most easily undone. Wait. Let your rivals expose themselves. Let their vanity push them forward. Let their missteps create the opening. The strongest moves come not from haste, but from precision. The wise commander does not charge the enemy. He waits until the enemy walks blindly into the snare. There is no glory in speed, only victory. And victory comes to those who understand that power is not seized, it is cultivated. Fear must be sustained but tempered. To be feared brings safety. To be hated breeds revolt. Strike hard when needed, but cloak your severity in necessity. Let fear restrain them, yet avoid the flames of hatred that consume princes. Fear that commands respect, not terror that provokes rebellion. The people must believe you are dangerous, but rational. That you will punish, but not arbitrarily. That your wrath is swift, but never blind. Predictable power is more enduring than chaotic force. Build fear like a wall solid, unshakable, and ever-present. Envy is the most corrosive force in any regime. The capable will be hated simply for succeeding. The loyal will be undermined by those who smile to their face. You must never allow envy to fester in silence. Uproot it early, humiliate the whisperers, exile the flatterers, reward merit, but never so much that it invites jealousy. Keep your lieutenants in motion. Promote and demote not only by performance, but by necessity. Stagnant loyalty curdles into ambition. Keep every circle slightly off balance, and their attention will remain on each other, not on you. Control the rhythm of punishment. Punish decisively, then retreat. Let silence follow blood. This teaches memory. It embeds your authority deeper than any speech. Let there be a clear before and after. Before defiance, after obedience. Do not punish too often. Do not dilute the message. Make each act of retribution a lesson to the entire body politic, and ensure no one forgets who gave the command. There is no such thing as a clean conscience in power. If you find yourself longing for innocence, you are no longer fit to rule. Innocence is a luxury for the governed, the governor. Your burden is not moral purity, it is effectiveness. You will carry decisions that crush lives. You will trade one life to save 10. You will justify the unjustifiable. Not because you are evil, but because you are responsible. If that weight becomes unbearable, step down. Otherwise, carry it without flinching. Every successor is your potential undoing. The moment you name one, you dilute your own authority. The future begins to shift its eyes. Control that future. Groom more than one heir. Let them compete. Let them distrust each other. Keep your lineage uncertain until the final moment. The fear of the unknown preserves your presence. A clear air breeds plots. A contested succession breeds loyalty until the very end. And when the end does come, and it will, as it does for Alan, sure that your departure is as calculated as your reign, leave behind not just memory, but structure. Let your machinery outlive your breath. Let your enemies find no weakness to exploit, no vacuum to fill. Let your institutions bear the weight of your absence. A ruler who plans only for his life dies twice, once in body and once in the collapse of all he built. Plan for immortality through structure, not sentiment. Because power is not an inheritance, it is a design. And if you would rule, you must become its architect. Unseen, essential, and undeniable. And so, in the final silence, when the chamber has emptied and the echoes of command no longer resound, you will stand alone not as a man, but as a consequence. They will not thank you. They will not weep for you. They will not remember your kindnesses, if you ever dared offer them, but they will remember the order you forged from chaos. the boundaries you imposed, the tempers you silenced, the threats you extinguished before they became fires. Your portrait may one day be removed, your name struck from halls, your memory twisted by those who inherit the peace you secured. Let them. That is the fate of all rulers. But they will live within the architecture you left behind, whether they curse it or praise it, and in that you endure. Power does not belong to the most righteous, the most loved, or the most eloquent. It belongs to the one who understands what must be done, and does it without flinching, who fears nothing but the return of disorder, who governs not with his heart, but with his hand. This is the price of sovereignty. This is the weight of command. To rule is to become necessity itself. And if you would rule, be feared first, then respected, and finally obeyed in absence.